Kevin will not be joining us this evening. He is on his way to a vacation that it's actually late starting, so we won't we won't deny him that opportunity. We might wish we were there too, but let's go ahead and is everyone had a chance to look over the agenda? Any additions or corrections that need to be made? Okay, can I get a motion to accept the agenda as it stands?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Paula.
I'll second.
Thank you, Chaz. All in favor?
Aye.
On to the approval of the minutes from August 19th. Did everyone have a chance to look those over?
Mhm.
Okay, any corrections, revisions, or questions about those? Okay, can I get a motion to accept those as they stand?
Make that motion.
Thank you, Chaz. I need a second.
I can second that.
Thank you. Paula, all in favor?
Aye.
This is going to get funny because
We're just, there's,
the Lacona Village Board is the mayor and two trustees. So the trustees each take turns making motions and the other one always seconds. It's just,
right.
just the way it's going to be, I guess.
We can
All
do
right,
that.
on to reports. Jessica's report. Did everyone have a chance to look that over?
Yes.
Okay, she sent updated report with numbers. Looks good, Jessica.
Yeah, it does. I'm
Um,
shocked by how many visits.
Yeah, but that's good. I mean, you know, I'm thinking people just need to get out. So having the library back open again is a place of refuge for them, just to get out of their house and out of their own zone for a little while. Looking over the report. Chaz, did you see my note about the Wi-Fi access points?
I think that I talked to the IT guy down at NCLS about that before when they were upgrading the units, about keeping the existing one and relicensing it so we could have more coverage in the basement. And I think it was somewhere around $500 that we would have to put up front. And then there was a licensing fee that came along with it for every year. So, I mean, if it's in the budget to do it, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but if it's not, then I mean, it's gonna, what the kids are gonna need for service for doing any video learning or anything like that, I don't know if the service at the library is going to be sufficient.
Okay. All right. I did try to approach Shelley. I tried calling her and kept getting bypassed. She has an excellent gatekeeper. I commend her. Even tried emailing Shelley and got no responses whatsoever. So we attempted to approach the school to offer our resources, whatever they might need. No response. So at this point, I believe we'll just wait till the students come to us asking for, you know, what we can help them with. And as far as the additional funding for the budget, I'm going to address that a little later in Kevin's remarks. So we'll get to that pretty soon. The next item was about the card catalog.
I looked into it. Right now, I don't have any time to do anything with it. So
Right.
if we have one of the public computers that's available, because I know some of them are off because of the spacing between them, if you could just move one of them over there and use that for the card catalog, if it's even getting used. If it's not getting used, then I would just shut it down and say it's out of order.
Well, that was my question back to Jessica and the staff. Do we really need the card catalog anymore?
It gets
used
used
often. Every other day.
I didn't quite.
We
Once, every day, every few days.
We have a few patrons who will use it on a regular basis. Young kids tend to use it quite often as well when they're looking for books about something, about ducks or whatever. They tend to use it. So it does get used more frequently during school days than than summer months. But it gets used.
Okay,
Can I?
So-
I have a question.
go ahead,
Do you
Jen.
have a second?
Boy, everybody seems really
Um,
quiet on my end.
So
Go ahead.
my question is, with the NCLS app and the web access, what prevents them from signing on to any computer and going on that way to find a book?
It's a lot easier. They don't need a password, because to get on the public computers, you need your library card number, your PIN number. With this, you just walk in, type in what you want to look for, or place holds right there at the computer. It's just a little bit easier. They could just
Could
walk
we
up to
use,
it.
could we use one of the iPads that aren't being used with the kids right now and have the app on? Is that something that's possible or no?
I don't know, really. I mean, we don't really have a thing to lock it in.
I was gonna say, my concern would be the iPad going missing fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Well, if you had like a station for it, but yeah, I get it. I'm just wondering because I know that I can just get on my phone and search what I need to and download it. If we can encourage that, I know some of our older patrons that would be hard to do, but if we had an alternative that we're doing together, figuring out a way to do that.
So let's consider this. How about if we move one of the unused public computers over to there for now? And we'll deem how much usage it gets over the next few months to decide, if we want to do something different.
Mhm.
Does that sound feasible? Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be hooked to IT management, where you have to use a library card and PIN number on the public computer. So we'll just have to log into it using a guest pass so people can use it throughout the day.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Jessica, we're going to get to your reopening plan in a little bit, so we'll skip over some of these items until then. Okay, as far as the subs, this is going to be a nice segue right into Kevin's report. Kevin expressed concern about continuing on with the subs. He doesn't think it's wise to, I'll read you what he wrote. He doesn't think it's wise to extend the subs. We need to be especially careful right now, especially since we don't know if Senator Ritchie will come through with the additional funding for the pavement project, and we don't know what we're going to get from the town. He suspects the budget cuts are going to be anywhere from 40 to 60% for next year. So, and he's recommending the sooner we move our funding over to the school district tax, the better off we're going to be, which I would agree with. So I think any major expenditures at this point, we're going to put on hold just till we see what the town is going to be doing with our budget for next year. Primarily because the inheritance we received can't be used for operations. Everyone agree with that? Or anyone have any questions or concerns?
When would you like the last day to have subs, like the first day of school? When we stop using them, will that be our last day, or?
Well, you have, when did you have them scheduled for?
I have the sub scheduled to work until September 19th, but if we increase our hours, because after, when school starts to increase our hours, that means we would have to pay them more, and they would be working 6 hours instead of 4. And I calculated it to be around $1,300 instead of $1,200 total for 5 weeks.
Okay, but you have them working 6 hours right now, right? 10 to 4?
No, they're working from 2 to 6, 4 hours.
4 hours, okay.
So that's $1,200 for 5 weeks. But if I increase their hours to 12 to 6 for 6 hours, it'll be around $1,300 total for 5 weeks.
Well, what we're going to have to do to maintain the same amount we already agreed on is either you're going to have to cut back their weeks to accommodate the additional hours, or you only have the subs still come in the same number of hours through the 19th.
Yeah, 2 to 6. Because that'll be around $1,180, I think, total for 5 weeks for one sub each day. Okay.
And what are the responsibilities now? Do you feel like you have a lot of like the books returned that were taken out from March and whatnot? Like, what exactly are they doing?
They're
The subs?
sanitized.
Yeah, they're
It's-
cleaning.
they're
Yeah.
Literally every patron walks out the door, they get up, they clean whatever that patron just touched. They're constantly sanitizing, and I'll tell you what, I don't think I can do that job and my own work. I know I can't do it. There's no way for one person to do the job in both places.
Is it, so my question is it required that every single time we sanitize every single time a patron's in there? Just, I'm thinking from like the grocery store, there's not someone following me around. Is it, using caution, providing wipes, if someone wants to kind of take a wipe with them and wipe down as they're going, is that something possible versus having someone there doing it?
We don't have as many supplies. We couldn't provide wipes every time somebody walks in or out. We have about maybe 7 or 8 packages of 75 to 150 wipes each. The wipes are hard to find right now. They still are pretty hard.
Yeah.
Disinfecting spray such as Lysol, that's impossible still. It's just cleaning off the computers after people use them. That's the number one thing we have somebody do. Every time somebody gets off the computer, it's cleaned. The bathrooms are cleaned a few times a day, like once or twice.
The handrails, the doorknobs, they all have to be every couple of hours cleaned. And the stores don't have that problem because their doors open automatically.
So Jessica, you have someone 4 hours a day for 4 days a week, right? 16 hours total a week?
For 5 days. Sometimes they work on Saturdays. I can't always get a sub for Saturday, so it's 5 days a week, 19 hours a week for minimum wage.
They're in for 4 hours on Saturday?
3 hours on Saturday.
3 hours, okay. So 19 hours. So at this point, you still have enough to accommodate through the 19th, which is 38, and another 15 is 53 hours.
Until September 19th, yeah.
Right.
Afterwards, I don't know what we're doing. It depends on the budget.
Well, we can go one of two ways. We can either have the subs come in for the 6 hours, and when those 53 hours run out, or before they run out, we have to figure something else out, or we maintain the subs at the 4 hours per day through the 19th, which means we're going to have to schedule another meeting for the board within 2 weeks to go through the budget when Kevin returns and go through the budget and see where things stand and whether or not we can support continuing subs.
And also they help check in people too. I mean, that helps too, because sometimes people will try to rush in without a mask, or they don't use the hand washing station. They just need to be reminded, like once in a while. This is the second, yeah, it is expensive. I mean, we've spent gonna be $2,400 in just 10 weeks worth of subs. I mean, that is a big chunk of change.
Let me ask you this, when were you planning to extend the hours?
I was hoping when school starts, 12 to 6 instead of hoping.
Okay, so it wouldn't be until next Thursday anyway, right?
Yeah, I wanted to do.
No, it's this Tuesday. Sandy Creek opens up on Tuesday, a week from today.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Plasky hours.
I'm thinking of back when I was in school, we didn't start till Wednesday. many, many, many moons ago. Board members, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like if the hours are expanded, we need to find a way to, keep the hours of the subs at a reasonable, maybe less now and more then. Can we do that? Less hours now, and then when school opens up and hours are expanded, we could use those hours later. There's got to be some way to balance that so everybody's needs are being met, and we're maintaining the sanitation that's necessary as well. I don't know if I have an answer. I just feel like it needs to be talked about a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, you're not looking at expanding hours until next week anyway. So for the
Yeah,
remainder of this week, let's maintain with what we have. And let's say, can we start next week with the usual schedule of 4 hours?
yeah, we can do that.
And we'll find out when Kevin's back available and we can sit down and go through the budget and see where we can come up with additional funds to expand the subs hours.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that.
Because I hear what everybody's saying, and I want it to be safe for everybody, but we also have to follow the governor's guidelines, because if we don't and someone, turns us in,
Mm-hmm.
it could be very dire for the library. So,
Yeah.
And we are supposed to be a model of what's supposed to be happening in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at this point, obviously you're going to finish out this week as it stands. You'll go through next week with the usual scheduled 4 hours, and we'll take a look at things then.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. The best solution we can offer at this time without knowing where our funds stand.
I know everything's up in the air everywhere.
It is. It is. Does anyone have anything else for Jessica for the director's report?
I wanted to add something about the school. We're gonna send our usual newsletter to the school. In it, we're gonna talk about school resources they can use at the library, such as our Wi-Fi, 24/7 Wi-Fi. I might add about the educator card, about how homeschooling parents can sign up for an educator card where they get more privileges to take holds and take out items. And we're going to talk about the Battle of the Books that we purchased, and some other things that we're going to be working with the school with.
I think that's a very good idea. The school hasn't gotten back to us, but we can still offer the resources through our own means, our own communications, and let the students know that they have this available. The homeschooler educator's card, is that something we're going to offer to parents because they're educating their kids at home part-time now?
We've had the educator card for about a couple of years. It's for daycare centers, teachers, K through 12, private and public schools.
Right, but that's
yeah.
been primarily for the homeschooling network. I'm
Doesn't
talking
Yeah,
about,
they have an ID, don't they? Like there's a homeschool ID that you have to use to get that. Whereas like remote learners, they have everything that they need for remote learning is supplied to them. If they're homeschooling, they're on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a difference in terms of what the school provides and what they don't. And Sandy Creek is very much, if you are homeschooled, you're over here. And if you're virtual, you're over here. Like they don't provide any resources, but they do for the virtual learning.
okay, and actually you helped me out by explaining the nomenclature. So we're not going to be offering the educator's card to remote or virtual educators, right?
Right.
The parents who
No,
are doing
probably
that.
just homeschoolers. Homeschoolers with they have to provide a letter of intent. They have to give to the school every year, or a copy of their homeschooling card. Some have that.
Okay,
But it's good to just have the teachers know that they can sign up and
okay,
take out as
Very
much as
good.
they want.
thank you. All right, has everyone
Chaz,
had
do
it?
you be able to,
Go ahead.
sorry, I just have one quick question. Are the CD Creek providing students with Wi-Fi access hotspots? I know other schools are. Is Sandy Creek doing that?
I know that it was something that we were looking into. I don't know where it got to from there. I can ask my boss tomorrow and see where.
Yeah, I know a lot of schools in the district are doing it, but I didn't ever hear about Sandy Creek, because if they provide hotspots, that will alleviate some of that.
I think
Right.
we looked into it, but one of the bigger problems is that our area has intermittent signal in areas. So, and then the cost of it is insane. So
Mhm.
it was, I
Yeah.
think they were weighing all the positives and negatives of it.
Okay.
Some of the libraries lend out mobile hotspots, like Fulton Library. They must have a grant or something, because those are expensive.
Yeah.
I know a few districts are doing it.
Okay. Under the financial report, has everyone had a chance to look that over?
Yes.
Okay. There appears to be no unscheduled bills for this month. So all I need is a motion to accept the financial report as it stands.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Paula.
Second.
Chaz will second it. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All right. Onward. Do we have, I gotta ask. He's already shaking his head. Nobody's on board. Okay. Any communication we have to report? Jessica, Jennifer, any communications?
We received a donation from. We received
It's in the
we
report.
received a donation from Judith Holy. Yeah.
Right, the one that's in your director's report?
Can you send me
Yeah,
her information?
Okay. And also we received money back from the zoo because of the mileage fee, since they couldn't come to our library to do the Zoo to You event. They did it virtually, so they sent us back $40-some.
Wow.
I just wrote that off as a donation.
Actually, that should go back into the programming budget.
Okay, I'll put it back in the program. Okay.
Yeah. Because the zoo's a nonprofit, they can't make donations.
Okay. I'll have to fix that.
Okay. All right, let's go on to the old business. Jennifer, Celicia, do you have any update on the branding at this point?
No, I haven't had a chance to
Okay.
wrap my head around anything. I figured now that the wedding's over, we can.
Well, yeah, but now you're starting school. So
Yeah,
I'll tell you
still,
what,
we'll have time now.
at this point, because it's on the outstanding actionable items spreadsheet, you ladies just give us a report when you have one. We won't keep checking in with you, okay?
Sounds good.
Paula may be checking up on you, but
Just because I put it in the
Okay.
spreadsheet.
yeah. Okay. On to, why won't this bring this up now? There we go. Sorry, things are popping up on my screen right where I'm trying to read. The capital project. Okay, I will let you know what Kevin reported on that as well. I can get back to him. Kevin says that Mike has the signed estimate from RJ Green, and together they are starting to work on the permits. He's going to report at our next meeting about the cash flow for the project, but we're fine, he says. He's going to speak with Senator Ritchie's office next week to see about additional funding to help with, you know, the extras that we all know about. But things are now moving forward, and once we have the permits, then they can actually start the work. All right, anyone have any questions on that I probably can't answer, but. All right, current progress with reopening. Jessica, thank you for drafting a plan. It looks, actually, I hope everyone had a chance to look it over. I thought it looked pretty good. Does anyone have any questions on it or concerns?
No.
Okay. I like the idea of the outdoor programming, when you can. My first concern, of course, was inclement weather. But
Mhm.
if you guys can work around that, that's wonderful.
Did everybody read the phase 3 pandemic response paper that I sent a couple days ago, I think?
Yeah,
Yesterday?
I
I
can't
did
pull
not
it up.
see that, Jessica. I didn't get that.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
I sent it yesterday. I think it's the pandemic response and recovery team. It outlines phase 3 of less restricted library access and curbside service. It outlines our hours, new hours I would like to propose, how many patrons at a time.
Mhm.
You must have got it.
Yeah, it was. I think you sent it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes,
have it
I
here.
found it. It somehow wound up in a different folder. Probably because it said
Programming
library and automatically moved it to another folder. Okay.
Explains all the new hours, 20 people instead of 10, an hour instead of 30 minutes, still 4 public computers, the meeting room, activities room, capacity, curbside, even though nobody really uses curbside that much, maybe once every few days. I don't know. I don't think it's that popular right now, but
Okay.
social distancing, masks, inside and outside. It's pretty much the same as phase 2. It's just increasing little by little the hours and the people, and start getting those rooms used downstairs.
Okay. And so you're planning to start that next week?
Yeah, when school starts, Tuesday.
Okay. Is the library open on Monday?
We're closed Labor Day.
It is. Okay. Very good. Okay. So you'll be starting this next week, next Tuesday.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start advertising and tell people quickly about the
Yes.
hours.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Jessica on this?
Are we going to be able to, because the meeting and activities rooms continue to be a concern for me. I know, even though it looks like it could only be 5 people at a time, do we have the ability to make sure that we're up to date on the cleaning of those rooms as well? I know the ventilation is not superb down there, so I guess I just wonder about those rooms since they're lower and they're self-contained, and I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well,
not.
no,
It's not just you.
And you bring up a valid point that if someone goes down there, we're going to have to allow time afterward to just completely clean down the room.
Hmm.
Because you
Unless
don't
we
know.
keep them closed. Yeah. Unless you want to keep them closed and we just do outside programs for right now and use the activities room only if it's bad weather. We could change it.
Yeah, I'm just, Paula brings up a valid point, and having to clean and sanitize the whole room after every single time someone uses it
Mhm.
is going to really use up a lot of hours of people.
Mhm.
Maybe that's an area we can go back to in a couple of weeks and see how things go. Keep it closed for now, and then, I don't know. Just, they're not huge rooms, so.
No, and your point's valid. There's no ventilation down there, no proper ventilation.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, Jessica, what do you think about that? We'll just keep the rooms closed for now?
We can keep them closed. I mean, all I want to just talk about is doing outdoor programming, because Melinda and Celicia have both mentioned their interest in going outside to do like book clubs, writing groups, sit outside, social distance with masks on.
Would people be bringing their own seating, like chairs or mats or something, and towels, and do that sort of thing? Or we don't have a picnic table, right?
No.
We don't, but I figured we'd just move some folding chairs out for the
Oh,
meeting and then,
Well, here's another thing to consider, Celicia. If we supply the chairs, we have to wipe them all down afterward too.
we
Which
do,
adds to
and we
the-
have to move them up from the basement.
Yeah.
Right,
So maybe just
Mhm.
requiring that they bring their own seat, whether it's a chair or a towel or something comfortable.
right. How does that, is that feasible?
Are we thinking about children programming too, or no?
I really don't know what Melinda is planning for her programming yet. I know she changed the name of Little Reader's Story Hour to Story Time.
Celicia, we're kind of losing you.
So I think maybe she's, oh, sorry. I think
I-
she's on, I think she's planning to
I'm
be
not a huge-
online.
Okay, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of having kids outside, trying to get them to stay put, and I'm never a big fan of it outside just with the traffic anyway, but I think I would refrain from doing like story hour and stuff like that outside, as it's just too much liability in so many ways, and I don't think that you're gonna get a lot of kids anyway.
Maybe we can
Okay.
focus on just a few adult programs, like knitting outside or
Yeah, to start with, yeah.
book discussions with maybe 10 and under people, 10 people or under outside. If it does rain or get bad, maybe use the activities room then and only then.
Okay, just keeping in mind, it has to be cleaned down,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so.
Require registration too, so you won't get like 20, 30 people outside.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be very challenging. I mean, it's not going to get a whole lot easier as we move toward reopening more and more. It's just different challenges each time
Mhm.
that we're going to be faced with. But are you folks good with that? Celicia and Jessica?
Okay, we can just offer an outdoor option and has to be nice weather and they have to register and wear masks, social distance, bring your own chair, blanket.
It's a lot of effort for,
Yeah, well, see how it goes. I mean, if it doesn't quite work because people don't want to do it or they don't want to have to bring their own materials or whatever, it's what it is.
There's people do yoga, and I heard in the Lacona Park, or they do workouts and exercise.
Zumba.
Zumba.
Yep,
Yeah, there's Zumba over at the fireman's field.
Yeah, they do that. That's popular, I heard. Outside.
Okay. Anyone, did you get everything answered that you needed to, Jessica, then?
Yeah, I'll just fix the plan and change it a bit so we won't have the downstairs used.
Okay. I just think, especially with the conversations we've had about the subs and how necessary they are, but their time is already being used up. If we add more to that workload, someone else is going to have to pick up the slack. And
Mhm.
Felicia's kind of letting us know that she's already very busy during the day. I'm sure Melinda is too, that having to clean down an entire room, it's not really going to fit into the schedule.
How about young adult programs outside? Is that okay, or it has to be adult?
Well, young adults, it wouldn't be as risky probably because they wouldn't be running in the road, hopefully, but
Right.
they probably would be more invested in being engaged in what was going on.
Because I know Melinda had an idea about a young adult writing group or a book club for young adults. So it would be like 13 to 19. So, okay, I'll write that down.
I just think the good thing, to kind of weigh the options of what we have and our resources. I don't want it to sound negative, but on the other hand, we're going into September and October where the weather's kind of not always in the best of our weather time. And, when these kids are going to be in school, half, at least part-time. So thinking about using those resources wisely, if we are not going to be able to have subs, where do we have to cut down on some of the things we offer or find a more productive way to offer them? If we can't do it in person, maybe we can do, instead of spending an hour in person, spend an hour doing 4 videos. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but really figuring out what's the best way to use the time of the library people that we have right now. So, I don't know if that makes sense to everyone, but I know we want to get people back to the library and stuff like that, but really focusing on, if we are sitting with a person for 1 hour to do a programming and you get 2 people, is that the best way to spend that hour? Does that make sense?
It does, but I also look at the opportunity of having an outdoor program. What it can do is it can get us back into some regular programming. And I think that's what Jessica and Celicia and Melinda are trying to do, is try to move back to something of a more normal program.
The online programs don't get the attendance. Matter of fact, my book club basically said they hate online. They'll keep reading the books, but they're not going to have a meeting because they can't stand to be online. They don't want to read tablets. They want to read books. They want to meet in person. That's who the group is. So I'm catering.
I agree with that. Like that group, definitely. But like with new programming and stuff, like that's what I'm just saying. If we're not getting the interest, figuring out what is the best way for that age group to meet, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, and maybe the 13 to 19-year-olds would rather meet in person outside because they're getting away from their tablets and computers for a little while and getting to see, each other face to face, 6 feet apart anyway. But so let's give it a try. Let's give the outdoor program a try.
This is where the inside interior gazebo would have been nice.
I know.
Those large gazebos with the walls and the screens, and that would have been really nice.
Yeah.
In the
Okay.
future.
Does anyone have anything else for Jessica and the reopening? No? Okay. Is there any other old business? Excellent. Is there any new business that we need to address at this time?
Did you see the post office bill on the new bills? I added that today, this morning, on the bills list that Kevin sent.
I did not.
Post office bill?
Yeah, I added that to the,
Oh, yes, for the post office box.
yeah.
Yeah, it's that time of year, September 1st. Everybody got a bill.
I wanted to make sure we paid it before next meeting.
Now, is that a scheduled bill, Jessica?
I don't know. That's why I wrote down in the comments, I said, I don't know if it's a scheduled, because it comes every year.
Is it just a once a year thing?
Yes.
I don't know why we couldn't just have it. Why do you have to wait for the bill when it's September 1st? Could you just pay it, sort of thing?
Yeah, unfortunately, what happens is the library doesn't send you the notice until like 2 weeks before it's due.
Oh.
And if you don't pay it the exact day it's due, they will block the box.
Yikes.
And you have to go to the lobby to get your mail, and
That sounds awful.
they're very particular. So we're gonna have to go back because if that's not listed as a scheduled, that's an unscheduled bill, and we have to have approval for that. So can I get a motion to approve the payment of the U.S. Postal Service bill?
Make that motion.
Thank you, Chaz. I need a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Paula. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So let's get that bill paid so we don't have any harassment from the U.S. Postal Service.
They have enough problems as it is.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, that's all I've got for now. We do need to have another meeting very soon, because something has come up recently. New York State Legislature has passed a new law regarding paid sick leave. And so we're gonna have to address that. But it's best to wait until Kevin comes back, so since he's our treasurer and our finance person, and we can all be together to discuss that. That will be an executive session discussion. But if you haven't seen it yet, you can go on to syracuse.com and look that up and get a little background on what's going on. Okay?
Yeah.
Basically, it's not going to be a huge change to our staff, but it means that we now have to include the subs.
Mm.
Because they're listed under our contracts as seasonal workers, and the new law includes part-time, temporary, and seasonal workers.
Mm.
So give that a look over, and let's take a look at our schedules for the next meeting. Jessica, you're going to want something resolved before the 19th. Am I correct?
probably, I mean, yeah, with the sub situation.
Right.
Let's see, September 19th, Saturday.
And unfortunately, the new law has to be addressed by September 30th. It has to be in place by September 30th. It didn't give us a whole lot of time. So can we look at, how about the 15th?
Is that a Tuesday or a Thursday?
That's a
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I could do that day. I could do Thursday as well, but that's the only days I have for the month.
Okay.
I know it's terrible, but
No, that's okay. My Thursdays are kind of taken up with the shop. I mean, usually
Okay.
Kathy can cover for me, but now that she's going back to work too, we'll have to see how that all plays out. So Tuesday the 15th, does that work for everyone else?
yes. Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
Okay. Let's set the date then for 6:30. I'll message Kevin and make sure that it fits into his schedule as well. So if it doesn't, we have time to adjust it, but. Okay, if no one has anything else, I appreciate you all for joining with us this evening. And if I don't talk to you before, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good night.
Good night.